Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, the Attorney General says the much-anticipated cannabis legislation is behind schedule. Women MPs weighing on the highly debated child offenders issue, and light it up blue as Autism Month begins. Welcome to our news weekend edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. Topping news tonight, cannabis legislation is slightly behind schedule, according to Attorney General Ryan Pinder. Pinder previously said government hoped to have the legislation ready for review by the end of the first quarter of 2022.
But we're just a couple weeks delayed on that. I had promised by the end of March. By the end of this week, I hope to have the full benchmarking and comments on the legislation that the prior administration had attempted to do.
The legislation drafted by the previous government would have seen various licenses priced at $10,000. Advocacy groups like the Rastafarians said that license fee would be too high and would prolong the oppression faced by their members.
We'll formulate that through law reform and get that in front of Cabinet. We're probably looking at April to get in front of Cabinet.
Minister of Social Services Obi Wilshcombe is calling for food program documents viewed by the Nassau Guardian and Tribune to be sent to his ministry. Wilshcombe insists his ministry does not have them.
Two major newspapers simply talked about what someone said. Where's the information? Where are the details? All they have to do is provide the information. All Ms. Lawson is to send the information to the financial services. She can send it over to the FS. She can send it over to the Auditor General and send it to the Ministry of Social Services, all of whom are waiting for the information. We do not have the information.
Prime Minister Philip Davis previously told Parliament it appeared the food program did not give an account of how its $53 million allocation was spent. However, documents viewed by the Nassau Guardian appear to contradict the government's claim that there were no records on spending, no breakdown on who was being helped, and no paper trail.
They saw a document. They saw a document that was sent out maybe before the program began. Not the document that we're referring to. We're talking about the document necessary for when the program ended. And what's the difficulty? If there's a document, present it. What's the difficulty? If we lost it, send it again. Just send it to us. We don't have the document. Why would someone say they don't have it if they, or if even all of us are in some conspiracy, we don't have the document? Just send it. Just simple. Listen, we lost it. Please send it.
The controversial topic has dominated headlines for some time, following the 4-year plea deal in the case of a 40-year-old man who impregnated a 14-year-old. Community members and government officials alike expressing their dissatisfaction with the entire ordeal. While some have publicly blamed the victim, Minister of State for Social Services Lisa Raming says she does not place blame entirely on the child.
She's still a minor. And it doesn't mean that minors cannot make good decisions. What I look at it is, if a child is placed in a vulnerable position, anything is likely to happen. Think of when adults are placed in vulnerable positions. They sometimes make irrational decisions. And so I looked at it as she was misguided.
Many have also asserted that parents should be more involved in the lives of their children and more aware of their activities.
Sometimes you may say that the parent must have known, should have known. Sometimes parents don't. They don't. Because we all think of our kids as being innocent. We all think that we have done all we can and we know they're not going to do the wrong thing. But when we entrust them in the hands of persons that we think will guide them and do the right thing. Think of having somebody that you trust. It's like a father. You're not going to think negative to say that this is what the father's going to do. And so I don't entirely blame the mom. I don't.
As it relates to legislation, Minister of Public Services Pia Glover-Roll notes the Attorney General is working to bring forth new legislation to Cabinet.
We're working very hard towards strengthening our laws. We're working very hard to ensure that we're capturing what needs to be amended in regard to domestic violence, violence against women and girls in the law. This is something that's a work in progress. It's coming to Cabinet. It will go to the House. The goal is to ensure that our laws are strengthened. Development of our laws in what is now a modern and evolving society.
Caribbean Women in Leadership, Bahamas National Chapter, has observed with grave concern some of the recently disclosed judicial sentences handed down for rapes against minors. In a statement, the group said the sentences have moved its members to ask, what is the value that the public places on children? What is the purpose of parents and guardians? What is the purpose of our prosecution and judicial processes and those who are key principals in it? The statement said, when a society begins to justify rape and unlawful sexual acts against minors by adults, it gives permission and continuing license to the depraved to prey upon children. The group is asking, where is the outrage of Caribbean men? Or is this practice fully embraced by men and silent women? It said the culture of older men preying on younger children is legitimized via the silence. Meantime, a non-profit group is calling on the government to provide more support for the education of children with autism. This as the REACH group, which stands for Resources and Education for Autism-Related Challenges, celebrates World Autism Month with the theme Autism Strong. Chairman of the REACH board, Dwayne Gibson.
There is a continuous and significant demand for more public school classroom spaces dedicated to teaching our children and offering therapy services. Listen, just as our typical children must be taught and the government is obligated to, by law, to educate all children, urgent priority must be given to the autistic community to ensure that this expanding group is not left behind. I must again remind authorities that autism does not end at 18. We are still in need of a post-school age center for adults with special needs that will include vocational training, respite care, and assisted living quarters. It's become critical for our members.
Gibson was speaking at a Light It Up Blue awareness ceremony Saturday evening. Minister of Social Services and Urban Development Obi Wolshcombe notes the government has been mandated to ensure that all citizens are equally represented and have opportunities to pursue their heart's desires.
Together we intend to change the slow mobility, but to ensure that we heighten and move our organization much further to incorporate, to create, to ensure that all that the chairman spoke about we could reach in the shortest possible time.
Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe sharing that he is a parent to a child on the spectrum. He says it is important for parents to be involved and voice their needs to those policymakers that can make a difference.
The Bahamas government has a legal obligation to educate all children under 16. That is imposed by law. It is subject to no qualifications. And so that is a hard job that the government has. And I can't stress enough the need for everyone who may have a child on the spectrum to participate. Don't worry about denial, don't worry about being ashamed. It's not about you. It's about your child. It's about your child's future.
Speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister, State Minister of Education Zane Lightbourne pledged the government's commitment to assisting REACH in their endeavors. He adds, as the population increases, along with unemployment challenges brought on by the pandemic, the Ministry of Education has seen an increase in the number of students seeking assistance through the Special Services Department.
We are still intently working to encourage our educators to study areas that would allow substantial increase in the special services disciplines. We must increase our cohort of behavioral therapists, speech therapists, psychologists, early interventionists, and special education educators. Presently, our special services section is staffed with a cadre of psychologists, speech and language pathologists, and therapists, and special education officers. We are currently recruiting and seeking to hire additional educators in all disciplines, including those in special education.
Colina is one of the corporate partners helping to reach out to the community through autism awareness. The insurance and financial brokerage company is partnering with Reach Bahamas to light its offices up blue in support of Autism Awareness Month. Colina's Director of Corporate Communications, Maxine Seymour, explains how this year's efforts will be different.
Last year, we lit this particular building, the 308 East Bay Street building, blue. And the blue lights were on the building all month to help promote awareness. But this year, we've extended that to include the 21 Collins Avenue location as well, to even enhance the awareness in terms of autism during the month of April.
Reach relies on corporate sponsors to help provide support to families affected by autism. Reach Chairman Dwayne Gibson says huge strides were made to help even more families.
This coming year, we were really fortunate to get a speech therapist on our staff. And she's been able to see between 30 and 40 kids, all free. And the donation from Colina empowers us to do that.
Colina resident actuary Marcus Boseland is the parent of a child with autism and recognizes the role Reach has played in his life since his son was diagnosed.
Reach has been a fabulous addition, I have to say, to our family life and our family structure. It's taught us how to be better parents. It's taught us given us some of the tools and techniques needed to support our child. And it's brought us a sense of fellowship and community. Because obviously there are difficult challenges sometimes that parents face, and the understanding that there are others who are going through the same thing does give peace of mind. This being Autism Awareness Month, it's important to raise the profile of the autistic community. And I know Reach has a big calendar of events planned for the month. And that's awesome, and I hope the public supports it.
Still to come on our News Weekend edition, Royal Bahamas Police Force officers are awarded for their hard work and lend a hand to Hands for Hunger. That's coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamik.
You're watching our News Weekend edition. Welcome back. More than 200 Royal Bahamas Police Force officers were awarded this week for their outstanding commitment to the force. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe spoke of the 182 years of rich heritage of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and its development.
I'd like to take this opportunity to personally thank all of you for your service to the Bahamas. You put in the work in an effort to create safer communities. You remained focused on your objectives. When detractors went low, you remained high. You performed above and beyond the call of duty while lifting the image of the force, culminating to this point where you're being recognized today for your invaluable contributions.
Among the honorees were Commissioner of Police Paul Roll, Deputy Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander, Assistant Commissioner Ken Strawn, and Assistant Commissioner Lehman Delaveau. Fernander had these encouraging words for the honorees.
Honorees, because of your dedication and commitment to duty, coupled with your diligence and passion, you are eating the fruits of your labor. I encourage you to wear your medals with honor and pride. You deserve it.
A number of organizations partnering with Cable Bahamas group of companies to raise awareness and financial assistance for Hands for Hunger. Those companies coming together Thursday morning pledging their commitment to the organization. Cable Bahamas group of companies is lending helping hands to Hands for Hunger as it works to feed families nutritious meals across the Bahamas. CBL President and CEO Franklin Butler says he, along with employees, will be volunteering at the food pantry in addition to other meaningful investments. CEO at Alive, John Gomez, echoing the importance of community involvement.
We're also going to be using the Together app to make a contribution to help Hands for Hunger to continue the great work that they're doing. And so I'm excited about not only giving my time, my talent, but also my money. And we're excited to just have so many of you partners here with us today.
The short 5.5 years that we've been in business, when you look around the country in terms of the society or the bits of the community we have touched, we will continue to do so. And we've partnered with Hands for Hunger for quite a number of years now. And this is not about giving the money. So for us, what excites us even more is being able to have a chance to put in the sweat equity. So for myself, I've committed to 5 days next week, in fact. And quite a number of the team from Alive will also be there as well.
Hands for Hunger Executive Director Keisha Ellis expressing her gratitude to the partners for their continued support, which helps to make a difference in the lives of thousands of families. She says every year, a survey is conducted to assess the level of food insecurity in the country.
So at Hands for Hunger, we try to create programming that hits people on each level of that spectrum. And we've also found that, hunger does not have a face. Hunger can look like any of the faces in this room right now, and it also looks like how we imagine it does. So we really try to hit all aspects of it through all of our programming. But based on our last household survey, we found that 1 in 5 Bahamians or people in the Bahamas are suffering from some level of that food insecurity. Just knowing deep down that, hey, I'm not giving my kids the kind of food that I know will help them to thrive.
Now, if you are interested in making a difference and donating to Hands for Hunger, visit togetherbahamas.com. Chief Alive Innovator Gravette Brown says, by becoming a registered user, you can be eligible to win a number of prizes.
You can give specifically to this Lend a Hand campaign, which we should have fully active by this weekend. And then we will have matching grants. We'll have, offers. Depending on how much you give, you'll be offered to win things like phones, prizes, baskets of goods. So there are a number of things, incentives that we have out there, just so that you can feel, continue to feel good about the giving that you're doing anyway.
Now, a number of organizations have also offered their services in support of Hands for Hunger. Among them, Canoe, Super Value Limited, Margaritaville, Nassau, and Coca-Cola. Longtime partner Sun Oil Limited has donated fuel to the Hands for Hunger program for many years, pledging continued support in the future. This comes following an outreach exercise on the island of Eleuthera.
Sun Oil is committed to doing anything we can to further the social good of the country and help in eradicating hunger and hopelessness. So anytime you see that Hands for Hunger bus traveling around the island, it's being fueled by Shell, because we are a licensee for Shell in the Bahamas, Sun Oil Limited, and we will continue as a Bahamian company to do what we can to help our brothers and sisters.
Bahamas Air will also be partnering with Hands for Hunger. Managing Director Tracy Cooper says they are already involved with a number of outreach programs, and they look forward to assisting Hands for Hunger as they expand nationally.
So to add Helping Hands is just one more step. And as Keisha is saying, that definitely we can provide assistance in moving you around the islands. So we look forward to that as well. But yes, Bahamas is happy to be a part of this initiative.
When our news comes back from the break, BARC gets its first mobile clinic. And in our sports segment, our Marcellus Hall fills us in on a donation for the upcoming CARIFTA Games. We have those details when we return.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
And now our Marcellus Hall has the latest in sports.
Welcome to our Sports Sunday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Well, good news for local sports as another corporate sponsor coming forward to tip their hat into the arena in terms of sponsorship. FTX Digital Marketing becoming the latest to do so. And they made an announcement this past week at the National Stadium of a pledge of more than $100,000 to help with the expenses for the CARIFTA teams, both swimming and track and field. Those events will take place later on this month in their respective locations. Now with the donation, it means that these teams will be able to travel, and especially now in these trying times, it would certainly be a good boost for them to be able to get it done. NACAC President Mike Sands, himself a Bahamian, says it's great to have this happen and be so happy to see CARIFTA track and field once again back underway after a 2-year break.
The CARIFTA Games is the longest serving junior event in the world. It is also recognized as the top event in the world in athletics for juniors, bar none, compared even to the World Junior Championships. The 2-year hiatus obviously took its toll, and we have no idea what impact that would have had on the future development of some of our athletes, simply because, as you know, the sport is aged, and so a number of athletes would have aged out, that they've lost opportunities, so they were totally disenfranchised through no fault of their own. So the fact that we are now cautiously optimistic that in 2 weeks' time, notwithstanding the protocols that have to be in place, that we look forward to a very, very successful CARIFTA Games. And I can tell you that the area, our preliminary entry showed that there's going to be about 400 or 500 athletes that would be registered from throughout the entire Caribbean. We're talking about the 27 countries.
And there it is, your check on sports for you here on this Sunday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Still to come, we're going to take a look at weather, and Bark gets a new mobile clinic. That's coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamik.
Welcome back to our News Weekend Edition. Let's see how weather is shaping up for the rest of the weekend and the days to follow.
The weather is brought to you by Nestum's Toddler Shakes, distributed by Lightburn Trading.
It has been years in the making, and now the Bahamas Alliance for Animal Rights and Kindness, better known as BARC, is officially in possession of its first mobile animal clinic. Chairman Laura Kimball says BARC hopes the clinic will help to put a major dent in the animal overpopulation problem that plagues the island.
This mobile clinic will move around the island. We're going to be focused on Nassau to begin with, but hopefully by fall we'll be able to make our first venture to a family island, which would probably be Eleuthera, because BARC has done a significant amount of work there in the last year and a half. And then the plan will be to go and help the other family islands as well. But we really want to focus on Nassau because, of course, it's the most densely populated and the most, stray dogs and cats.
The clinic will be stationed at the Bahamas Humane Society for a few weeks, assisting with the backlog. But Kimball says they hope to take the spay and neuter services into the community by the end of April.
What we'll be doing is, I think we'll be starting in Centerville and then probably Fox Hill, but we'll identify a location that has a parking area and whatnot, and then we'll be, sharing it probably on the news and whatnot with people. And we'll be there 5 days out of the week, Wednesday through Sunday, which is key because, a lot of people work during the week, so it's hard for them to bring their pet in. And again, we stress that this is for low cost or people who can't afford to spay and neuter their pet. And of course, if you can, please go to a local veterinarian.
While it is not the first mobile clinic in the country, it will be the first solely dedicated to spay and neuter surgeries.
There is a mobile unit in Freeport, and there's one in Abaco that's used as a vet clinic because, of course, they were affected by Dorian. veterinarian. But this is the first specific spay-neuter, 5 days a week out there. Goal 20 to 30 is what we hope to ramp up to. So if we can do 5,000 to 7,000 spay and neuters a year, I mean, we'll always be, of course, the Humane Society is here. The goal is for the Humane Society to be able to operate at a functional level.
Adoption coordinator at the Bahamas Humane Society, Fiona Moody, grateful for the partnership with BARC. With some 500 animals in their care, she says they are pleading with members of the public to do their part.
We are kept really busy, and right now it's very overwhelming, and our staff is really stretched. We're waiting to get a new vet coming in, so we only have one vet right now, so it is wonderful to have BARC here. There's no reason why you can't have your dog, cat, spayed or neutered. Especially with BARC, they're mobile, they're going to be out in the neighborhoods. When they come to us for adoption, it's mandatory. We spay and neuter everything, doesn't matter even if it's a full breed cat or dog. And with the help of BARC, we're going to get on top of this.
Thank you so much for joining us for our News Weekend edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Have a wonderful evening.